After weeks of discussion, congressional leaders released the text for the National Defense Authorization Act, which is an annual must-pass bill for the Department of Defense. It almost always passes because it keeps our military going. Well, and what drew some attention this year was not what was in it, but what was not there. And what was not in it. And that is language that would have expanded coverage for in vitro fertilization, or IVF. Why is this significant? And what will it take to make sure that language stays out? Well, joining me now to talk about this is U.S. Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas, who serves on several committees, including the Budget Committee, Committee on Health and Education and Labor. He is also a doctor, an OB/GYN, who has practiced medicine for over 25 years and delivered over 5,000 babies. Dr. Marshall, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Tony, great to be with you again.
Now, I want to quickly hit this NDAA and then move on to the Marshall Plan, which you have introduced today. So originally there was this provision in the National Defense Authorization Act, but it has come out. And the concern, many pro-lifers have concerns about the unregulated nature of the IVF industry, where literally thousands of embryos are either destroyed or frozen. Speak to where this policy is moving.
Well, Tony, I think it's moving in the conservative direction, and I know you and Family Research have had a big emphasis and an impact on that in particular. I think that the policy is moving towards putting some tighter guardrails around it. Trying to, and the good news is the policy, the technology is improving as well, so that we're not losing so many embryos through the procedures as well. So I always appreciate your input on it, and it is you want to start a Bible war, bring up this topic and get some different religions talking about it.
It is true. There's a lot of disagreement about it, but where we start with is the sanctity of human life, that every human being has the thumbprint of God, the fingerprint of God on it, and therefore must be treated with dignity and respect. And I think that part of that issue is how this industry has been unregulated, and I think it requires a little more work before we throw taxpayer dollars into it anymore. Speaking of that, I want to talk about one of the bills that you've introduced, the Marshall Plan, to fix our broken healthcare system, and the guardrails that you actually put into your bill that will keep taxpayers out of the abortion funding business as well as the gender transition business.
Right. Exactly. So every year the federal government is giving insurance companies $150 billion towards premiums for health insurance products. And you were at least around for the start of the fight of Obamacare. And there was language in that was going to have our Hyde protections, protect federal dollars from being spent on abortions. But to a great extent, they've been ignored. I believe it was called Section 1302. So what we tried to do is beef up the Section 1302 enforcement, but also just go ahead and take out of the premium subsidy from the federal government what it would cost to fund abortions as well. So each policy has a yearly premium, and there's a certain part of that that's dedicated towards abortion. So we'll just take that part of the premium out of there and be done with it. Does that make sense, Tony?
It makes sense, but that's just a portion of what you're proposing, because you're also talking about fixing a broken system. Obamacare hasn't worked. That's one of the reasons we have these massive COVID-era subsidies, is because the system doesn't work.
Yeah, let's start with the fraud. A third of the people on Obamacare have never made a claim. And what that means is they're ghost patients. They don't even know that they're on Obamacare, but the federal government is still sending the insurance companies money. So we want to fix the fraud.
Isn't that criminal?
Absolutely. I think it's criminal, not just by the headhunters, there's headhunters out there, but I would think if you're an insurance company taking premium dollars and you realize that there's a group of people that never have filed a claim, that you should go back and say, are these people real? In one case, we found 58,000 dead people that we were sending dollars to insurance companies. So yes, you couldn't make this stuff up, Tony.
So, I mean, that should be, in today's era of technology, that should be pretty easy for the healthcare companies to know whether or not they have real patience. So that's one area you're dealing with the fraud. What are the other areas to save money for the taxpayer?
Well, I think what we want to do is take some of the money we're sending insurance companies, put it in a Hyde protected healthcare savings account, and pair that with price tags. And this would help everybody in healthcare. We would force all healthcare providers to show you the cost of something. Could you imagine deciding you need a new truck and you couldn't tell the difference between a cost of a Ford or a Chevy? Well, in healthcare, you can't tell that. And in many cases, this means thousands, tens of thousands of dollars per procedure. So we want to put some money in your healthcare savings account and show you the prices of something before you had that service done.
So it's accountability.
Absolutely. So I think that we make the insurance companies accountable. We show you what the prices are, and the American consumer will figure this out. You probably know this, Tony, but women make up 80% of the decisions for healthcare.
Right.
80% of decisions are decided by women, where they're going to take your parents, my parents, our kids, grandkids to which doctor. So if we empower them, just like we do for on Cyber Monday, right, or whatever they call it. We'll give those good shoppers the prices, we'll show them outcomes, and then go let them make their choices and start driving healthcare. Right. The other thing I really want to get at, though, is allowing healthcare association plans and healthcare ministry plans to be expanded and sold across state lines.
Competition and more options for people, and more transparency so people know what they're paying for. So let me ask you this question. We've just got a minute left, Senator Marshall. What's driving this is the deadline on these Obamacare subsidies, and there's a lot of pressure being put on by the media and others because healthcare costs are going to go up for some. Will Congress act in time?
I don't see how we can. The Democrats kept the government shut down for so long, we weren't able to have meaningful conversations. I still think we can come back in January with a bipartisan solution, but we'll see. Yeah. We'll see if Chuck Schumer is going to let us actually vote on this National Defense Authorization Act. We'll see if he's actually serious about solving this riddle of Obamacare as we know it. I don't think he is serious. I think he wants these problems to stay until we get to the next election.
Well, Dr. Marshall, I think it's important that we do the right thing, not just something, but that we do the right thing. We take the opportunity to fix it, even if it takes a couple of extra months to get it done the right way. Senator, always great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tony.